Welcome to Biocomputation with Dr. Max. I want to talk about peace and prosperity today. In fact, it's an opening episode of a long series that I've started last week. Unfortunately, there were too many news to keep up, and my cold has also interfered with it. I think we can start with today's big news, the impact that DeepSeek has had on AI market. Large leaders like NVIDIA have dropped something like 16.5% overnight, wiping out $500 billion valuation of that one company. So that may be a good segue to one of the main subjects of this channel, which is talking about important matters with a positivity, but also a critical outlook. And I think that combination is sorely missing. You can find sycophantic news in many channels that either follow one administration or the latest administration, or you can find contrarian news with a more critical outlook, but those unfortunately tend to be quite negative. For example, one very talented analyst, Pepe Escobar, is capable of providing excellent analysis, but is definitely very negative about USA. So I think we can think about both sides of the equation and discuss how we can improve our country and, in fact, how we can help to achieve peace and stability and prosperity globally. Because peace and stability globally impacts us. For example, DeepSeek that's coming from China has been provided as an open source. That is a very interesting point that's contrary to what has been expected. In fact, looking at some comments by Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI from late last year, we can read in Washington Post the following. He wrote, "We face a strategic choice about what kind of a world we're going to live in. Will it be one in which the United States and its allied nations advance a global AI that spreads the technology's benefits and opens access to it, or an authoritarian one in which nations or movements that don't share our values use AI to cement and expand their power?" I think it is quite interesting that this very inexpensive DeepSeek alternative to OpenAI has been provided as open source. And that is perhaps something to consider in light of this peace and prosperity on the global scale. In fact, speaking of China, I think we can take a moment to consider the fact that our ability, I'm talking about United States, to stymie their progress is quite small in comparison to challenges that are intrinsic to Chinese economy. In fact, there's been some serious malinvestment in China's real estate, and also looking at their GDP numbers, we can see that although China as a country is seen as very wealthy, on a per capita basis, it's actually not that wealthy. So I think we can approach with confidence and positivity the world at large. But let me come back to the topic of prosperity. In the spirit of constructive criticism, I want to talk about US financial situation. We can talk about the peace part in subsequent videos. Focusing on our finances, there are definite roadblocks to our prosperity. Maybe to begin with, we can start discussing the letter that Janet Yellen has sent to Congress several days before Trump's inauguration, reminding the nation and Congress that the national credit card has been maxed out at about $36.2 trillion. So extraordinary measures need to be enacted in order to continue functioning of the government without issuing additional debt. When we think about other sources of private debt, there is about $1.2 trillion of credit card debt, which has cost US consumers about $170 billion. in interest alone in 2024, with extremely high, nearly usury-like, actually, interest rates exceeding 20%. Additionally, student debt exceeds $1.7 trillion. This all weighs on the consumer. Also, medical debt exceeds 200 billion, with over 1/3 of the Americans, 100 million or so, having medical debt. This weighs on the economy. In fact, when we consider the expectations that Dodge set out, specifically Elon Musk has set out for the Dodge department to cut some $2 trillion in funding, we need to consider the sources of spending. It struck me that there were so few objections, again, speaking of constructive criticism, to the top line number that Musk initially threw out of $2 trillion, when the entire discretionary federal budget is about 1.7 trillion. The rest of it is non-discretionary. For example, Medicare and Medicaid together account for nearly $2 trillion, and they're not discretionary. So this is an area where we need to focus on saving, but also creating new value. I like to think of the mathematical concept of emergence. The total is greater than the sum of the parts. There are other examples, for example, from the cryptocurrency world. There's the infamous case of a crypto investor who became rich early and young and spent $6.2 million on a piece of art, quote unquote, which was a banana taped to a wall. So I think that can be seen as a whimsical example of emergence, where a banana worth perhaps $1 plus a few cents for the piece of duct tape now is called art. Of course, this is a jovial example. It's not real, a sustainable value. And the same can be said about the hype surrounding AI. Many businesses like NVIDIA and many countries like UK under Keir Starmer have said recently that AI is going to save their economies. I think it's obviously overstated. In particular, the example with DeepSeek, I think, is putting it into perspective. The good news is that it's highlighting more sustainable value. And people are starting to think about what kind of data is valuable. Well, there is one type of data that's produced by everybody and can be utilized to create emergent value. I'm talking about healthcare data. But that needs to be done in the right way. And this is what this channel is about. It's about addressing these problems and working together to, well, create a better future, but also to create that business based on healthcare data. And it has to be done from the ground up, which is the right way of doing it. That's the way of democratically sharing the value, as opposed to a top-down approach. If you consider Stargate investment of $500 billion that was announced just days ago by Larry Ellison and others, it's focusing on AI, which is now perhaps in danger of being rapidly commoditized. People need to realize that the real value is in the data. And as I said about China, we want to be able to work along with nations around the world in order to create the most value. And I think being the kind of innovative nation that we are, we can, in fact, lead this charge. But it needs to be, as I said, done in the right way. So that's what this channel is about. And I hope we can continue this discussion constructively, but also with certain elements of criticism. For example, cryptocurrency is a good fit for the technology of data sharing. Specifically, helping to preserve elements of privacy, although the way people have envisioned using it for sharing healthcare data, I think, is very limited and misguided. So there's secret special sauce that we can discuss later. But for now, I want to just touch upon some things at a kind of top level. Specifically, a blockchain is a great technology for healthcare data sharing, and cryptocurrency is the way that it's sold to the public. Trump has released his meme coin shortly before his presidency, which has popularized crypto markets. People in the crypto world have different opinions on this. Some see it as very positive marketing, others see it as detrimental. I think we need to see both sides. It is wonderful advertising for the world of cryptocurrency, but it's legal only because it's pure entertainment. Meme coin is immune from SEC, Securities Exchange Commission oversight, because it's not even pretending to have backing of any kind of good or service. So I think that's good advertising for the field, but certainly not any investment, which is what cryptocurrency is ultimately should be about. In fact, there were 3 points that I've picked up from one of the players in this field. In fact, one of the contributors to the success and launching of Trump meme coin, and that's the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, who said, and I couldn't find this reference, but I found another one which has a contrary message. So the message that I remembered was extolling the benefits of cryptocurrency. And there are 3 main points: facilitating investment in a business, facilitating customer acquisition, and global expansion. And I think this is definitely an accurate description of the potential. However, in the interview of him that I was able to find, and I will cite that in future videos. I already created a whimsical video where I use sections of that interview. He talks about the potential of cryptocurrency to stimulate investments and real exchange of business and democratization. That interview was given 6 years ago, and most of those predictions, unfortunately, have failed to come to pass. I do give him credit on helping to grow the market, and he cited that the user base will reach 1 billion people in 5 years, which was 6 years ago. So it's about half of that number now. So that's still a significant achievement. But the other points, I think, are more problematic. Specifically, he talked about investments in real goods and services. That perhaps is the most lacking element, but also democratization. As one can see by looking at various meme coins that were launched by others, including one launched several months ago entitled "Trump Destroys the SEC." These have all failed to connect nearly to the same extent that Trump meme coin has connected. In fact, even Melania meme coin has failed to grow. So this shows the power of personality, the power of the influencer to launch this meme coin. And certainly, it's not a democratic mechanism. I think it's appropriate for some reward to be given to a leader who is able to usher in peace and prosperity. So I'm not here to to challenge that particular use case, but I do think that it can detract from more serious use cases for cryptocurrency, namely investment in goods and services. So I hope this has been a tantalizing introduction to this topic of peace and prosperity, also AI and cryptocurrency and healthcare. And I hope you will join me for the future episodes. So please like, follow, and share. And see you in the next episode.